We try to celebrate one Mass for children. Of course, every other person can come, but we really appreciate when children participate, like the reading, the ushering, serving at Mass, and doing different things. So Mass targeted toward children. And very soon, I'm going to be asking in the future that maybe we preserve a place, a few pews in front, so we can have our children sit out here. But today, all the children who have come, I want you to stand and for us to look at you and recognize you. Children, those from whatever grade it might be to 8th grade, want to stand? Up to 8th grade? Good. What about those up to high school? Want to see those up to high school? Please stand. Okay. Good. Good. Don't be shy. This is the house of your Father, so don't be shy, okay? All right. Thank you for coming, okay? Please be seated. And I want to tell you that we're very proud of you when you come, okay? Because, you know, things happen in our world, in the family, and also in the church, that those who are older are, you know, giving chance for those of you who are younger to take a position of leadership, be it in government, be it in the church, or anywhere. So thank you for what you do and for making effort to come, even when it is very tough, even when it is very cold, you come. We appreciate it. And when you serve as well, either to read or to sing the psalm today, beautiful, or to read or to serve. It's really a wonderful thing. And you really make your parent proud. You know, your parents do a lot for you, and that is the little thing you could do to make them proud and make them happy. That's my son, that's my daughter. And if you want to know it, talk to the parents of those who read and do all these services. They're always very proud of their kids. So children, thank you for all you do, okay? Keep coming, all right? This past week, the priest of the diocese had in the first place, I wanted to say Happy Valentine's Day belated to all of you, okay? And we had a very good one yesterday. The marriage ministry put up a great dinner at the McHenry Country Club, and a lot of people came. Deacon Dennis is celebrating 35 years of marriage. So when you see him, congratulate him. He and his wife, they were the guest speakers. It was very good. And after the talk and the food, there was dancing. I didn't stay for the dancing. One, because I forgot my dancing shoes. Number two, Father McKittrick was supposed to be my dance mate, but he wasn't there. So next year, I'm going to plan differently. If you want to go with me, let me know, all right? But it was very good, and happy belated Valentine. But before then, all the priests of the diocese went to Fontana, and we stayed there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and we had this Father Michael Schmidt. Some of you may know him, very young guy. I think he was ordained in his 20s, and we were ordained the same year. He's a little bit younger than me, but he gave a great talk. And I came to him and said, Father, your talks are great. When I grow up, I want to be like you. And then he turned around and looked at me, no hair and everything. I'm like, okay, you're older than me. And then someone came in and said, Father, you know, I like your talks, but you were there at McHenry some time ago, and everywhere I listen to you, it's like it's more or less the same thing. And Father said, yeah, Catholic Church has been there for 2,000 years, and there's nothing new. If I teach anything new, it will be heresy. So, okay, there's nothing new, but we can live the old faith with new enthusiasm, okay? He talked about a number of things. One of them is the Great Commission. You know the Great Commission? You know, like someone belongs to a group or organization, and you have a blueprint or a statement of what your organization is all about. You know, blueprint of Christians, the Great Commission, what Jesus asked us to do. You probably know it. When you go home, you want to read Matthew's Gospel, chapter 28. Read from verse 19 to verse 20. It's easy to remember. Matthew 28, 19, 20. Jesus said to those who would follow him, go out to the whole world. Make disciples. That is number one. That is what he commissioned us to do. We got to make disciples. That is called evangelization. He said, baptize them. Father Michael Schmidt called it sacramentalization. Teach them all that I commanded you. Catechesis, teaching. Evangelization, sacramentalization, catechesis. And brothers and sisters, that was not just meant for the Pope and for the bishops and for priests and for deacons. It's for each one of us who are Christians that we must evangelize. And I want to thank you, parents, who in these difficult times when children are drawn to so many other things, that you put all the effort you can to evangelize and keep bringing your children and grandchildren here. Thank you. That's what Jesus asked us to do, to make disciples. Now, sacramentalization is when you bring them to be baptized. The church is always here for you. Don't do it at home, okay? We're going to do it here in the church and then give them communion and the rest of the sacraments. 7 of them. You know what they are? I'm not going to quiz you today. Know the 7 sacraments. Be sure that your children receive them at the proper age. But evangelization is what we begin with. What is it? Evangelization is not just about teaching. It's not just about telling people what to do. It is about sharing the story of our encounter with Jesus. If you have ever encountered Jesus, if you have ever allowed Jesus to be part of your education, to be part of your schooling, to be part of your dispute, to be part of your marriage, part of your job, to the point that you can say, if not for Jesus, this would not have happened this way. A personal encounter with Jesus that makes us turn around to those in our lives, your husband, your wife, children, parents, friends, even on Facebook, on WhatsApp, whatever you are there, the social media, and share that personal encounter that you have with Jesus, with somebody, to the point where someone would say, if Jesus has done this in your life, I want to come and know that Jesus. That is what the leper did in today's gospel reading. And as we celebrate the last Sunday of ordinary time, just before Lent, Lent is going to begin on Wednesday, the leper demonstrates how we can live the life of evangelizers. We've got to do it. He had an encounter with Jesus. And then he went out and spread the news to everyone. Every single man and woman, young and old, need to use their lips to proclaim Jesus to your friend and tell them, this is what Jesus has done in my life. Do you have a story of your life with Jesus? How Jesus has taught your marriage before? And if somebody says, well, nothing really has happened, we need to get off the way and allow Jesus to do something. He's about to do something in that marriage. He's about to do something in your health. He's about to do something at your work. He's about to do something in your relationship. We need to get off the way and allow Jesus to do it. He wants to do something in my priesthood. We are the only one that stand on the way of Jesus doing something in our lives. And when he does that thing, we cannot keep quiet. We got to turn around in school, in the playground, on Facebook, on the internet, share with someone what Jesus has done. You know the story of lepers. The first reading tells us from the book of Leviticus. If someone was diagnosed of leprosy, it would be compared to having Ebola today. It was almost like a death sentence. There were no cure. Therefore, the people had to be put outside of the community. One, they were quarantined. They were ostracized. In addition, there was this humiliation where they had to tear their clothes. So anyone who sees them would say, that man or that woman has leprosy. You don't get near them. But on top of that, you had to shout, unclean. Unclean. So everybody will run away from you and not contact your leprosy. Above all, everyone said it is because of his sin. That is why he had leprosy. That may not have been the reason, but that was the only explanation they had. That is a sinner. That is why he is sick. We are all sinners, but nobody wants to be called sinner. So to be restored to the community, to come back to the family, to be able to come back to the church, you've got to look for a circumstance that will make it possible. That is, you've got to look for a time where there is no one with a priest in the temple. He's by himself. So 2 things were necessary, the temple and the priest. That is why Jesus said in the gospel reading, go to the priest and offer the sacrifice that is required. That will be a proof for your cleansing. So 2 things were necessary, the priest and the altar. So you will offer the sacrifice. The leper in the gospel reading, when he saw Jesus, he saw 2 things. He saw the temple in Jesus, and of course, that is what the temple is. When we come to worship, sometimes people say, well, I have Jesus in my heart. I'm a very good man. I'm a very good woman. This is what I do. This is the other thing that I do. But I can't really make it to church. Guess what, honey? You're deceiving yourself. We are not called to be good. We are called to be holy. Good men and good women are not going to make it to heaven. only holy men and holy women. And I can't make myself holy. Only Jesus can make me holy. That is why we come to the temple every single Sunday. We cannot miss one. The third commandment says so. Keep the Sabbath holy. And I thank you, parents. I thank you, children, who don't miss any single Sunday. Unless you are so sick that you cannot do it, we come to the temple so Jesus can make us holy. Holiness is not what we are able to do. It's about what Jesus is doing in us when we allow him to do it. He saw Jesus and he saw the temple. He came in and knelt in front of Jesus. Isn't that what we do at the temple? During consecration today, we're all going to kneel. He said to Jesus, if you wish, you can make me clean. In the Old Testament, the priest did not make the leper clean. The priest only offered a certificate that he is clean, if the person is indeed clean. But when he said to Jesus, if you wish, you can make me clean, he saw in him the temple, he saw in him the high priest, from whom the authority of the priest in the Old Testament takes its origin, and the one whom the New Testament priesthood will depart from. He saw him to be the high priest and the temple. Kneeling down, he said, if you wish, make me clean. What does the scripture say in today's gospel reading? Jesus said to him, I do wish it, be clean. He put his hand and touched him. Imagine touching an Ebola patient. Rather than the man contaminating Jesus because of his leprosy, the divine power in Jesus cleansed him of his leprosy, and he was healed. But that's not the end of the story. He went out and told people, this is my personal encounter with Jesus. This is what he did for me. And many people came because of what Jesus did. You have a story. You have an experience with Jesus in your marriage, in your relationship, in the ups and downs and disappointment of your life. Have you encountered Jesus? Who did you share it with? Sometimes people make excuses. I'm not that bad a man. I'm not that bad a woman. And that is what keeps us from encountering Jesus. You know, when people make excuses, when they're in denial of their leprosy, I have a leprosy. Some people here have leprosy, or all of us. Language, tongue, the way I treat my husband and my wife, what do you do to your parishioners or fellow friends, what you talk about people, how you don't keep the commandment, what you do to your marriage, what you have done behind her and behind him, the things that you do in secret that no one knows, but you know it's not right. It's called leprosy. We need to be humble enough to bring it to the Lord Jesus and kneel down in front of him at every single Mass, during Bible class, during men's conference, when we gather, like we gathered yesterday, every Saturday morning, or any group, youth ministry, wherever we are, we need to find time to come and spend time with Jesus and say, touch my leprosy. Touch the leprosy that is making my marriage to be such a difficulty and a burden. Touch the point of my life that I have not allowed you to get in. Touch me, Jesus. Make me clean. Once he does that, then I have a story that I want to share with my husband. I have a story that I want to share with my children and my wife and my friends and co-workers. And we kind of say, well, I don't want to talk about religion in the places of work. Honey, we talk about it on the internet, on the radio, on the telephone, in the email. Whatever we do, we bring Jesus in. He is our focus. He is the main man in our lives. We cannot not talk about Jesus and bring others to him. And no, children, when you go to school, talk about Jesus. Talk about Jesus. Share your personal story with one another. Lent is coming. If you have never done it before, we're going to have 40 days from Wednesday to tell someone about Jesus. And sometimes that person we want to bring to Jesus might be ourselves with our leprosy, and allow him to touch us so that in turn we can bring others to come and know the goodness of Jesus. Will you do it during this Lent? Don't be afraid. He's going to be with you. His grace is going to empower you to talk about him and evangelize others and bring them to Jesus.